Welcome back. Iran is warning the U.S. and Israel against any attacks as the country prepares for this weekend's funeral of its former Supreme Leader. You'll remember he was killed in the U.S. Israeli strikes back in February. Well, this warning comes as President Trump touts progress at indirect talks in Doha between the U.S. and Iran. Yesterday, he said the sides held, quote, very good meetings. But speaking to reporters, Vice President J.D. Vance wouldn't rule out a return to full-scale military action.
Well, I can't commit to anything because obviously it depends on what the Iranians are ultimately going to do. As I said up there, what I can commit to is the president's not going to send our military back in unless he has to, unless there's a clearly defined purpose for it. If we've got to do more, of course, that's kind of up to the Iranians.
CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio joins us from London to discuss this. Ramy, good morning. Over the past weekend, we saw what appeared to be small strikes by either side. There's been indirect talks since. So where does everything stand this morning?
Yeah, Errol, good morning. Those talks between the U.S. and Iran have wrapped up, and it doesn't seem, at least at this minute in time, that a return to those tit-for-tat strikes is in the cards. Now, remember, U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were in Doha, but they never met face-to-face with the Iranians, and talks, as you mentioned, were indirect through Qatari and Pakistani mediators. But Qatar's foreign ministry today posted on X that there was positive progress on the 14-point MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed just a couple weeks ago. There's no detail on what that progress was, but in the past day, the talk we're hearing from Iranian officials have focused on 3 points. Point one, that the U.S. stop attacking Iran, which was something happening just as recently as past weekend. Point five, that it's Iran that should have full control over the Strait of Hormuz. And point 11, that the freeze on billions of dollars of Iranian assets will be unfrozen. And earlier this week, Iran's president announced that $6 billion in frozen funds held in Qatar will be released. But there's been, at least so far, no confirmation from the White House about this. Earlier, President Trump's former national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, was on the takeout with Major Garrett, and he was quite skeptical about these talks. Take a listen.
Iran is the one making the progress in these negotiations because they're receiving big paychecks. I mean, the Qataris are about to unfreeze $6 billion of assets. They've already sold 40 million barrels of oil. So they're filling their coffers back up. They're getting the infusion of cash they desperately needed to get themselves up off the mat.
Yeah, and in just the past couple hours, Iranian political and military leaders have been hammering the point on the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's deputy parliament speaker, for example, said the U.S. must respect Iran's authority in the strait. And Iran's military command said that all tankers need to follow routes that Iran has approved, which means close to Iran's shores and not via the southern route by Oman, which we've been talking about the past week, which has been backed by the United States. Errol, looking ahead, the next round of talks might happen only after July 9th, which is after the funeral of Iran's last Supreme Leader, which wraps up this time next week.
All right, something to watch out for. Ramy Inocencio in London for us. Thank you, Ramy.